since you got your degree and you know every fucking thing.
Good evening, everybody. Today is October the 29th, and we are reading Robert Greene's The Daily Laws. Today's title is Manage Your Grandiose Tendencies. Let us say that you have a project to realize. You can think of the project as a block of marble you must sculpt into something precise and beautiful. The block is much larger than you, and the material is quite resistant, but the task is not impossible. With enough effort, focus, and resiliency, you can slowly carve it into what you need. You must begin, however, with a proper sense of proportion. Goals are hard to reach, people are resistant, and you have limits to what you can do. With such a realistic attitude, you can summon up the requisite patience and get to work. Imagine, however, that your brain has succumbed to a psychological disease that affects your perception of size and proportion. Instead of seeing the task you are facing as rather large and the material resistant, under the influence of this disease, you perceive the block of marble as relatively small and malleable. Losing your sense of proportion, you believe it won't take long to fashion the block into the image that you have in your mind of the finished product. You imagine that the people you are trying to reach are not naturally resistant but quite predictable. You know how they'll respond to your great idea. They'll love it. In fact, they need you and your work more than you need them. They should seek you out. The emphasis is not on what you need to do to succeed, but on what you feel you deserve. You can foresee a lot of attention coming your way with this project, but if you fail, other people must be to blame. Because you have gifts, your cause is the right one, and only those who are malicious or envious could stand in your way. We can call this psychological disease grandiosity. Daily law: accept your limitation and work with what you have, rather than fantasize about godlike powers you can never attain. Maintain a realistic attitude. The laws of human nature. 11. Know your limits. The law of grandiosity. So when we're speaking of somebody that's always thinking grandiose, like they're always right, and if something doesn't work out the way that they think it should, then it's everybody else's fault. We've all dealt with them type of people. They're usually narcissists that blame everybody else for whatever is going wrong in their life. So when it comes to yourself and realizing when you're taking on something that is a bigger task than what you thought it was, being realistic about how to do it and the time that it's going to take. That's what he's speaking of, being in proportion to the project or task and staying on task to know like how big it is. Okay, so for example, I've always, and this was my grandiose tendency, I've always had a good eye for like real estate and the market and what's a good area, like the bigger picture sense. But I tried to take a real estate class a few times, and the task of processing and getting through the class was more than I really, had time for or invest my time in. And I think I kind of got discouraged. This is me not blaming, but this is my reality. I got discouraged because I thought it was going to be easier than what it was. So manage your grandiose tendencies. So realizing that the task, the proportion of time you have to put into it, studying, if you really want it, that's what you have to delineate as far as your time goes and your effort. So, if and I gotta work on your nose because I've been using them a lot, but that's something that you have to be realistic about and remind yourself that the proportion of size and time and energy that it's going to take, and it's nobody's fault but your own if you don't succeed. Y'all have a good night. Join me tomorrow. We'll do it again.